Well, hello everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Hyder. We are going to show you the forecast section by section across the state of Texas. We're going to start with North Texas. So we are going to be pretty quiet on Thursday. What we really want to talk about are the nuts and bolts of what we are expecting this upcoming weekend. So we do have a WFA weather alert day. That's going to be from Friday afternoon all the way through Monday morning because we are expecting a wintry mix to move in. Icy roads will be a possibility. Power outages will be a possibility, and we're also expecting dangerously cold temperatures. So what you need to do is make sure you stay updated with the latest forecast all week. So here's the winter storm watch. It does encompass all of North Texas. Again, this starts from Friday afternoon and goes through Sunday morning because that is when we are expecting this storm to move in that will eventually bring accumulating freezing rain, sleet, and snow, which will lead to the slick roads, bridges, and overpasses. And again, power outages will certainly be a possibility. We've got the extreme cold watch for the entire Metroplex and just mainly areas off to the west. But no matter where you go across North Texas, it's going to get very cold. But we're talking about the feel-like temperature, wind chills to be anywhere from 5 degrees to 10 below zero Saturday evening through Monday morning. So let's get to your timecast. We're skipping Thursday because Thursday I think we're dry, but we will have increasing clouds during the day. On Friday morning, temperatures will be well into the 40s, and we're talking about a little bit of light drizzle, but the coverage of rain will start to increase about midday, but we're still talking about scattered light rain. Later in the evening, temperatures start coming down behind that Arctic cold front, and we're going to see that transition from rain to areas of freezing rain, especially well north of the Metroplex. But sometime Friday night to Saturday morning, we will see that transition all across the Metroplex of areas of freezing rain, and then during the day on Saturday, we're expecting freezing rain, sleet, and eventually by the time we get into Saturday night to Sunday morning, that's going to transition over to areas of light snow. So all of that will be accumulating on area roadways, bridges, and overpasses. We do not recommend traveling at all this weekend. The good news is because temperatures have been in the 50s and 60s as of late, the ground temperatures are also still in the 50s and 60s. So although we could see areas of freezing rain by late Friday night, it may take a while before those roads actually do become too slick. Looking at that 14-day forecast, we are expecting the very cold temperatures to last at least through about Monday. The second half of that 14-day, though, it takes a while to recover, but eventually temperatures do make it into the 50s. And also the second half of that 14-day does look very quiet. You can see those overnight lows start to go up as well. But for now, Thursday is quiet. The winter storm watch, that takes effect Friday.
I'm Hunter Williams, Chief Meteorologist here at KVUE in Austin, Texas, and here's what we're tracking in our forecast as we go into the weekend. Winter storm watch in effect for all of our Austin area Friday night through Sunday morning. This is for the potential, and we've got a tricky forecast now, for light to moderate icing, so it'd be freezing rain or sleet accumulation. And increasingly, as I look at the high-res data, I think especially Saturday evening into Saturday night is probably the time frame we need to watch. So let me explain. I'll walk you through the high-res data step by step. Here's the morning of tomorrow. Low clouds, temperatures are mild, sunshine, and it will be warm, 60s and 70s for highs on Thursday. So any hard freeze preps you need to get done around the house, all good. And even Friday, we're going to increasingly start to get some rain late day, but it won't be freezing cold yet. 50s in the morning, cloud cover. And then as we get this front working closer to us, rain showers developing by the afternoon, growing in coverage evening and overnight. Now, watch these temperatures. This is brand new model data. At 8 a.m., the temperature is in the 40s in Austin. We have rain showers. Now, temperatures continue to drop, it looks like, as we go through the day. Noon, 43. Here's 3 p.m. This is the last frame of our data, dropping into the 30s, and it's starting to get close to freezing over parts of Williamson County and the Hill Country, and those temperatures will continue to drop. So this model is a little slower with the cold front, but I think this is a relatively realistic look. Now, if temperatures drop quicker, then obviously some more of that precip Saturday could be freezing rain or sleet, but as it looks now, so we would drop below freezing late afternoon into the evening of Saturday. And look, there's still a lot of precip out here that could move over our area and again get us into that window of more likely freezing rain and sleet for us, which would be Saturday evening and a Saturday night. The European model has also kind of picked up on this. It's got our temperatures dropping through the day on Saturday, 30s as we get into the evening, and then ultimately overnight we get into that window where freezing rain and sleet is going to be the favored precip type, and then that precip is moving out as we get into the morning of Sunday. We're done with precip by the afternoon on Sunday, but still we're going to have some really cold weather for Sunday night into Monday. And look, I know a lot of folks are focused on the ice potential here, but I don't want us to forget it's going to be really cold too. Sunday morning wind chills, 14 in Austin, single digits outside of the city. And then here's an early look at my low temperature forecast for Monday. I have 22 in the forecast for Austin. Upper teens, low 20s will be widespread. There's a possibility, especially if we have some sort of ice on the ground, that the numbers could be colder than that. Here's my 7-day forecast. 71 Thursday, Friday, 65, and then here we go Saturday. So I've updated these numbers, dropping from 40s early in the day down close to freezing by the afternoon. So rain, and then by the evening dropping below freezing. So rain to wintry mix in the evening, wintry mix Saturday night, wintry mix moving out Sunday morning, high only 33 Sunday. So some will drop below freezing, it looks like, by Saturday afternoon and stay below into Monday. So Monday morning, a hard freeze, 22, 44 for the afternoon high. Another cold morning on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, we're back in the low 60s. So that's a look at Austin. Let's take a look at the forecast elsewhere across the state of Texas.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist David Paul here in Houston, Texas. Let's take a close look at what Houston and Southeast Texas is facing as far as the winter storm going into the weekend. Winter storm watch is in effect. This begins on Saturday morning, lasts through Sunday evening for the greater Houston area, includes all of Houston and the Metroplex, does not include the immediate coastal counties. This means light icing is possible Saturday through Sunday. Also, we'll be monitoring for the possibility for at least some spotty power outages. You start getting 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of accumulation of ice on tree limbs and power lines, and that's when we begin to see the power outage issues occur. And so that's something we're watching very carefully. Also under an extreme cold watch. Now this one extends all the way down to the coast. All of Houston, Southeast Texas is included. We'll have lows going into Sunday night, Monday morning that drop down into the low 20s and mid to upper teens. With a north wind, it will feel like it's 5 to 15 degrees Monday morning across the Houston area. That is absolutely bitter cold for Houstonians. You know, bundle up, dress in layers, that's on your exposed skin. Again, the worst of the cold is expected Sunday night into Monday, and you want to make sure the exposed pipes, the faucet and any irrigation pipes you've got with the sprinkler system are wrapped up. Let's talk about the onset of freezing weather, freezing precip for Houston and Southeast Texas. This is 8:30 Saturday morning with North Texas getting the ice, Houston getting a cold rain. Still a cold rain Saturday afternoon, say the latest model runs. Then overnight Saturday into Sunday before sunrise, Houston area is below freezing. All the pink has a possibility of freezing rain. So it's Saturday night, Sunday morning that in Houston we could begin to see ice begin to get going on the bridges and overpasses. This is Sunday at noon, 28 with light freezing rain. That is an absolute mess on the roads. Plan on not driving. Do not get out and plan on driving on this Saturday night through Sunday. Sunday, 5 p.m., 26. More ice accumulating, watching for the power outages on the roads as well. Then it exits. And then Monday morning, we're just cold with lows in the mid to lower 20s and teens in our northern counties. The ice potential, it's light here in the immediate Houston area, but enough to cause the travel issues. It's much more significant across North Texas. This is an early look at some local possible totals. You know, if we get 7/100ths of an inch of ice accumulating on limbs and lines, we'll be okay. If we get 3/4 of an inch, that's a huge problem. That's lines coming down, and that's tree limbs knocking power lines out. And so Houston right on the edge of a significant winter ice storm. That's what we're looking at in the Houston area. Let's go over to San Antonio and see what South Central Texas is looking at.
I'm Bill Taylor at KENS 5 Television in San Antonio. Let me walk you through the weather impact alert. Here in the city on Friday night, we're looking to stay wet and windy with a cold front coming through. So it's between now and then that you want to stock up and gas up. Now on Saturday, it looks to be a cold rain for San Antonio and the metro. And by Saturday night is when we expect temperatures to drop and some of that to be mixed in with some sleet. And maybe by Sunday morning, some freezing rain. So make sure you need to download the KENS 5 app and download to your television KENS 5 Plus for all things San Antonio. The good news is on Sunday morning as early as say 5 or 6 a.m., we could see this moisture move out and be east of the city. As far as the cutoff, it remains to be the I-10 corridor, Highway 90 corridor west of Del Rio. That's where I'm expecting to see the wintry mix change over, especially across the hill country where we could see higher accumulations, even the I-35 corridor. Here's how the future radar paints the picture. Heavy pockets of rain early Saturday on the I-35 corridor, but this is just a cold rain. Everything's staying liquid till temperatures start dropping, and then you'll start seeing this wintry mix line dropping farther and farther south. It could be in the hill country by Saturday afternoon, maybe as early as 4 to 5 p.m. But it looks like it's San Antonio overnight heading into Sunday morning. So it doesn't appear that we're going to see this until it gets cold enough in the city. And again, that's going to be overnight into Sunday morning. And then if this happens and the moisture is pulling out east of us as early as 5 or 6 a.m., that is good news with accumulation totals being drastically reduced. Here's the latest model run, under 1/10 of an inch of any icing in San Antonio. And this is going to primarily be the bridges and overpasses. And notice that as you go up I-35, that's going to be the pocket of the highest totals, but those are still under 1/4 of an inch. That's all from San Antonio. Now, here's what to expect in East Texas.
I'm Brett Anthony in Tyler. Our weather impact alert goes into effect Friday evening and it lasts until Monday morning. And our impact here is going to be an ice storm and some bitterly cold Arctic air, which could challenge a record low by Monday morning. The need here in East Texas is to avoid driving as much as possible and stay up to date with the forecast by making sure you're checking back on our CBS 19 app. We have a winter storm watch that goes into effect Friday morning. It lasts through Sunday at noon. It covers the entire area, even counties that are covered by the Fort Worth office and the Shreveport office and the Houston office. All of our counties have been included in this winter storm watch as we anticipate freezing rain that could accumulate on power lines and on tree limbs. Here's future skycast. I'm going to start this Friday morning. We do have cloudy skies and some rain showers, and you'll note the temperatures here in East Texas in the upper 40s. And then as we make our way later into the day, temperatures are kind of steady, about 44 to 45 degrees, with rain developing by noon, and the rain picks up in intensity as the temperatures begin to drop. The Arctic air makes it to the I-30 corridor around 4 o'clock Friday and then begins to seep farther south, closer to the I-20 corridor by about 8 o'clock. Temperatures fall near or below freezing, and then that's when we start to see freezing rain and sleet mixing in, and that will continue into midnight Saturday and then through the morning Saturday, maybe a little bit of a lull, but it picks up in intensity, and some of these returns we see here on our in-house computer model would suggest that we could have a heavy band of sleet moving through mid-morning into Saturday afternoon. So our winter weather threat really ramps up Friday night and probably peaks sometime Saturday late morning into the afternoon, continuing Saturday night into Sunday morning. And it could end as a little bit of snow. We do have to watch out for black ice, as anything liquid by Sunday morning will freeze solid, and power outages are a big concern here in East Texas. How much ice are we talking about? Well, the potential on the broad brush is about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice, and we know that could bring a storm severity index in the minor to moderate, at least through noon Saturday. Moderate impacts would mean hazardous driving, closures, and power outages could occur. And ice accumulation impacts look something like this: a light glaze on the roads at 1/10 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. We're talking about icy roads, tree limbs sagging and breaking, numerous power outages. When we get to a ½ inch of ice, dangerous travel on roads, widespread tree damage, and long-term power outages. Our storm timeline to recap then: rain developing, temperatures dropping Friday. Saturday, temperatures drop, heavy freezing rain and sleet likely Saturday night. The freezing rain and sleet will continue. Temperatures will fall into the teens, and it could all end as some snow on Sunday. Here's what's happening in Waco and Temple.
I'm KC and Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell, and this is what we're looking at for this weekend in Central Texas. Our weather impact alert is going to extend from late Friday through Monday morning. Now, looking at that Friday time frame, not expecting freezing weather, but it's definitely going to be cold and rainy, so not a comfortable situation across Central Texas. As we get into Saturday and Sunday, that's when we look at that possibility for that wintry precipitation and some very cold temperatures also as we head into those morning hours. So your need, of course, is going to be to pay attention to forecast changes over the next few days, and remember those 4 Ps: pets, pipes, plants, and people this weekend. And If we do see that icy accumulation, make sure you're limiting your travel. So I'm going to show you a couple of simulations here. First one is probably a little bit more of a conservative simulation. This is one idea of what we could be looking at for this weekend. Again, just rain on Friday, but then as we get into Saturday, we'll call it mid-morning, late afternoon. This forecast model then brings in that freezing precipitation towards central Texas, and that's going to stay with us through Saturday night and even on into early Sunday morning. As everything exits to the east, we could even see a flurry or two of snow. Again, that's still yet to be seen. Our primary concern is going to be freezing rain and sleet throughout the day on Saturday. Notice those temperatures very cold as we head through this event as well. We're going to take a closer look at those temperatures here in just a second. First of all, though, we are getting closer and closer to Friday and Saturday, and because of that, we now have a look at some short range models. These give us much higher resolution in terms of what we might expect this weekend. So this is another simulation. Again, rain on Friday, again, scattered showers throughout the day on Friday, and then here comes that freezing line where we might see that frozen precipitation, some freezing rain, potentially some sleet Saturday morning, moving across the I-35 corridor by late morning, closer to the afternoon hours, and then that stays with us as we head through the day. Now, our forecast models are only taking us through noon at this point, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer for more short-range data, but again, I'm still expecting this to stay with us into Sunday morning. How much ice could we see? Well, our models are now showing us about a 1/4 inch of ice possible throughout the Saturday and Sunday morning time frame. That is enough to create very hazardous travel conditions. It's also enough to put a lot of stress on power lines and on tree branches. So with all that being said, ice is a possibility throughout the course of the weekend. The other thing we have to talk about, the bitter cold temperatures. Sunday morning, you wake up, it may feel like we're in the single digits across central Texas with actual temperatures in the lower teens. By Monday morning, some of those wind chill values could be in the 0 to below 0 range across central Texas. So even colder as we start off the day on Monday morning. So that's why we have that weather impact alert that stretches from Friday all the way through the weekend on into Monday morning. And then by the time we get to about noon on Monday, things start to warm up for us a little bit. We get closer to that freezing mark for most of central Texas. And then by Tuesday afternoon, we should all start to climb above freezing. That's a look at central Texas. Let's see what's happening this weekend in Beaumont.
Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn in Beaumont, Texas. We're expecting mild, dry weather Thursday and Friday. Lots of good weather to prepare for the Arctic blast that we're expecting, with falling temperatures and wet weather expected on Saturday, and could see some freezing rain, sleet up in the inland sections of our area known as the lakes area, as then the coldest weather of the season arrives coming up Monday and Tuesday mornings. That's why we've issued a weather impact alert for Sunday morning because of the potential for freezing rain in lakes, freezing rain and sleet up in the lakes area, and then cold weather, pipe busting weather coming up Monday and Tuesday mornings across southeast Texas. Right now, we're pretty convinced that we're going to see a wintry mix up in the lakes area, which is generally north of the Golden Triangle. A little too early to ascertain the amounts or impacts because we need that 48-hour window where high-res modeling will become available, and that will be Friday morning. Then we'll be able to ascertain where that freezing line will be. Otherwise, Monday and Tuesday mornings look like a pipe buster across the area. A winter storm watch is in effect all across southeast Texas with the exception of southern Jefferson County. And this used to be the wind chill advisory we were very familiar with. That is a cold weather advisory now, and that's what we're expecting coming up Monday morning. So this is the European model. This is a single run deterministic model. They tend to flip-flop, but we'll show you this anyway. It gives you a rough idea of where the freeze line could be, roughly from Hardin County through near Kirbyville. North of that will be a wintry mix of freezing rain and sleet. South of it, a cold rain. However, the GFS model is flip-flopped yet again since this morning, and it's roughly along I-10 as it tries to force colder air south as low pressure develops and moves through the coastal waters off towards our east. Otherwise, looking at an ensemble modeling. This is what I really like. It's 50 runs of that European model, and 64% of those members of that ensemble model shows an icy mix of freezing rain and sleet up in the lakes, and about a 12% chance here in the triangle. Normally, our high is 64. We'll see near or above normal temperatures for afternoon highs Thursday and Friday, and well below normal coming up Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday of next week. So tonight, looking at cloudy skies, patchy fog. Lows will be in the low to mid 50s. Then tomorrow, no rain expected, partly sunny, highs in the mid to upper 60s. Taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast. And again, we do expect that widespread rain Saturday night, icy mix coming up Sunday morning, and then long duration cold weather, freezes coming up Monday and Tuesday mornings. Too early for those impacts yet. Download the 12 News app. And again, it looks like freezing rain possibility over the area Sunday morning. Wind chills into the teens coming up Monday morning, and Tuesday morning, look at that, teens to lower 20s. Now let's check in with Midland, Odessa and see how they're shaping up.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier in Midland, Odessa and Abilene, San Angelo. Here's what to expect over the next couple of days as we enter into our weather impact alert with this winter storm. So starting off our Wednesday morning, lots of temperatures right around the freezing point. Nothing too abnormal, at least for West Texas. Those early morning wind chills are going to be a little bit rough though, around the 20s and even those teens the farther north in the basin we go. We warm up easily into those 60s and those 70s close to the Rio Grande. Nice way to kind of end out the week before we get into the action. Because that cold front comes in, we start to see a lot of cloud cover building up by Friday morning, leaving us kind of stuck in the 40s, and then temperatures will really begin dipping Friday evening. Wind chill values, notice a lot of those teens on here, especially by Saturday morning, and I feel like this model is kind of underestimating just how cold it's going to be. Saturday afternoon, still a lot of 20s below freezing, then we dip down into the teens by Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, yeah, we warm up, but it's still staying below the freezing point. That's where we could see a lot of that accumulation still hanging around really into Monday. So we're going to continue to watch a lot of that stuff over the next couple of days. Starts off as rain, more so into the early parts of Friday with a little bit of that mixed precipitation, freezing rain extending its way down to Abilene, Sweetwater, Big Spring, Midland, Odessa by Friday evening. Kind of becoming almost widespread, even extending to the I-10 corridor by Saturday morning. And then it slowly transitions to a bit of that snow by late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. This is where we could see some of that decent accumulation, but then notice how quickly it disappeared. Yeah, by 2-3 p.m. at the latest on Sunday, we are back with sunny skies. And then Monday, that's going to be our recovery day. We start warming back up. Temperatures finally get above freezing. Future snowfall with the European model. European model tends to be a little bit better with snowfall totals, basically along the I-20 corridor, and that's about it. With the exception of those higher elevations, it's going to be a little bit rougher there. So, weather impact alert. When Friday through Saturday, or Sunday, excuse me, wind chills near zero, ice and snow accumulation is certainly going to be possible during that time frame. So here's that 9-day forecast for Midland, Odessa. Impact alert from Friday night through Sunday. Expect about 48 to 72 hours of temperature staying below the freezing point, starting as freezing rain, then to wintry mix, then to that snowfall. And much of the Concho Valley is in the exact same boat. Starts off as rain, turns to freezing rain, then to mixed precipitation, then to that early morning snow. But notice how Monday comes around, we warm up and finally recover. So here's what's to expect in Corpus Christi.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Carly Smith here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we are watching this winter blast for a chance of freezing temperatures here and extreme cold. An extreme cold watch has been issued across the coastal bend and the majority of the Lone Star State, as you've just heard about. Now, our travel impacts may not be quite as rough as conditions, especially across North Texas, shape up. But for us, we are watching for freezing temperatures that are going to be extra cold for the beach and the coastal bend. And so freezing temperatures are expected as early as Sunday morning. That could trend a little bit earlier. We could possibly get down to freezing on the beach, and then we'll likely be freezing for the majority of the coastal bend along Highway 77 and areas north and west of there. Now, the best chance of some freezing drizzle possibly lining up with those freezing temperatures is going to be our northern counties closer to San Antonio. So traveling along I-37 or along Highway 59 and Highway 35, even toward Houston, You may want to use caution on bridges, especially because those bridges do tend to cool a lot faster. Typically, when we have freezing drizzle, our roads may not see ice accumulation because we get heat naturally emitting from the earth. We have to get extra cold to lower that temperature of the road. But bridges do not have that insulation, and so they can cool a lot quicker than the rest of the roads. And so that's what we're really eyeing for potential impacts here this far south into Texas. Our winter weather impact alert is for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday nights, especially. That's when we're tracking freezing temperatures and additionally wind chills in the teens, which we do not see here very often. So it's very important to protect the 4 Ps, dress warm, and limit travel, especially north. Like you just heard about, much bigger travel impacts and hazards north of the coastal bend. The timeline for us, you see the cold front passing throughout the day Saturday. It's approaching the valley by Saturday evening. We are going to see our best shot of rain along and then just behind the front. Once the front passes through, we're in what's known as an overrunning pattern, which keeps us with the drizzle. Sunday morning temperatures fall, and that could be where we see a chance for some freezing drizzle. By Monday morning, a lot of models indicating the rain is just offshore, and we see clearing skies, which is a big reason why Monday may wind up being the coldest day here in the coastal bend. We're talking wind chill around 15 degrees, a temperature of 25. That temperature could potentially near the record. If we get colder, the record low, 1897 there on Monday morning, that could be the record if we get 2 degrees colder than the forecast. So we are having a weather impact alert on Saturday for the cold front passing through. Once the front passes through, that's when the bigger impacts take place with freezing temperatures for the coastal bend overnight. Thanks for watching. Stay with us throughout the winter storm as conditions change. We'll have updates on our free streaming app.